What if I told you that the biggest threat to your success abroad is not your job, not immigration laws, not racism, but bad governance back home in Nigeria? Why does your Nigerian passport attract extra scrutiny at airports? Why are visa approvals getting tougher? Why does your family back home depend on you more every year? Why does it feel harder to invest safely in Nigeria? And why are more Nigerians in the UK, US, Canada, and Europe quietly saying, "I may never return home"? You may live in London, Houston, Toronto, Berlin, or Dubai. You may earn in dollars, pounds, or euros. But Nigeria's political decisions still follow you everywhere. When inflation rises in Nigeria, your monthly transfers increase. When insecurity worsens, your retirement plans collapse. When elections lack credibility, your global reputation weakens. When the naira crashes, your investments shrink overnight. Bad governance does not stay within Nigeria's borders. It travels through remittances, through immigration policies, through global perception, through your identity. In this video, we are breaking down exactly how Nigeria's political direction affects you in the diaspora, financially, socially, psychologically, and strategically. Stay with me, because this conversation concerns your future. Whether you live in the United Kingdom, United States, Canada, or anywhere in Europe, one thing you cannot change easily is your passport. The Nigerian passport reflects the global confidence in Nigeria as a state. When governance weakens, the international image weakens alongside it. The Federal Republic of Nigeria has faced ongoing challenges including insecurity, corruption scandals, electoral disputes, and economic instability. Global rankings of passports often consider security stability, diplomatic relationships, and trust between governments. When insecurity increases or corruption headlines dominate international media, visa policies tend to tighten. If you've noticed longer visa processing times or more intense questioning at borders, it is not random. Immigration authorities evaluate risk based on national stability indicators. When a country is perceived as unstable, the assumption is that more of its citizens may overstay visas or seek asylum. Even if you are a law-abiding professional with stable residency abroad, you still carry the national label. Beyond visa issues, perception influences opportunity. Employers researching global news see stories about election controversies, insecurity, or currency collapse. Landlords may subconsciously associate Nigerian nationality with instability. Business partners may factor country risk into negotiations. This is not about personal merit. It is about national reputation. When governance inspires confidence, citizens benefit globally. When governance struggles, citizens absorb indirect consequences abroad. The painful reality is this: your personal excellence cannot fully separate you from your country's global image. Bad governance becomes an invisible tax on your mobility and opportunities. And this is only the beginning. Nigeria consistently ranks among the top remittance receiving countries in Africa. Diaspora Nigerians send billions of dollars home annually, often more than foreign direct investment in some years. Why? Because when inflation rises and the naira weakens, families struggle. When fuel subsidies are removed abruptly, transportation costs surge. When food inflation rises, basic survival becomes expensive. When unemployment remains high, younger relatives look outward for help, and that help is you. Living abroad does not automatically mean living lavishly. Many Nigerians abroad are also paying rent, mortgages, student loans, and taxes. Yet the pressure to send money home increases every year because governance at home fails to create stable economic conditions. What starts as occasional support becomes a monthly obligation. School fees, medical bills, house rent, emergency hospital payments, funeral contributions, community levies. You may earn in dollars or pounds, but constant remittance outflow limits your ability to invest in your own future, retirement savings, property abroad, business expansion, or personal development. Bad governance shifts economic responsibility from institutions to individuals. Instead of strong social systems protecting vulnerable citizens, diaspora Nigerians fill the gap. You become the unofficial welfare state. And the emotional burden can be even heavier than the financial one. You carry guilt if you cannot send enough. You feel pressure when exchange rates fluctuate. You worry about inflation wiping out what you send. This is how governance decisions at home quietly restructure your life abroad. Many Nigerians abroad dream of returning home someday. The plan often includes building a house in Lagos, opening a business in Abuja, or buying land in Anambra state. But currency instability complicates everything. When the naira experiences sharp devaluation, the cost of imported materials rises. Construction budgets double unexpectedly. Business capital requirements increase overnight. Policy changes affecting foreign exchange access can disrupt investment planning. Sudden shifts in tax regulations or unclear regulatory frameworks create uncertainty. Diaspora investors often operate remotely, making them vulnerable to fraud or inconsistent policy enforcement. Imagine sending millions of naira for a project only to discover new levies or currency restrictions that were not anticipated. Governance instability increases transaction risk. Investing in a stable country provides predictability. Investing in an unstable policy environment adds layers of uncertainty. That uncertainty discourages long-term diaspora capital inflow. The irony is that diaspora Nigerians want to contribute to national development, but inconsistent governance reduces trust. When trust declines, investment slows. And when investment slows, economic recovery becomes harder, creating a cycle that affects you again. For many Nigerians abroad, the long-term dream is simple: work hard, build savings, and return home comfortably. But insecurity changes that calculation. Reports of kidnapping, banditry, and political violence alter perception. When insecurity deteriorates, retirement planning becomes risky. Parents worry about raising children in unsafe environments. Professionals hesitate to relocate families. Insecurity is not just about statistics. It affects psychological confidence. Even if certain areas remain relatively stable, national headlines influence decisions. Bad governance erodes safety structures, policing efficiency, intelligence coordination, judicial accountability. When institutions weaken, crime networks exploit gaps. The cost of insecurity is not only measured in lives lost, it is measured in abandoned dreams. When diaspora Nigerians postpone return indefinitely, the country loses valuable human capital. Doctors, engineers, academics, entrepreneurs, people who could contribute meaningfully decide to remain abroad permanently. Bad governance does not just push people out, it prevents them from coming back. A government's credibility affects international negotiations. Trade agreements, student visa arrangements, bilateral partnerships all depend on diplomatic trust. When elections are widely disputed or governance lacks transparency, international confidence weakens. That affects everything from business relations to immigration policies. Countries negotiate based on strategic trust. If Nigeria's political system appears unstable, other governments approach partnerships cautiously. For Nigerians abroad, that caution can translate into stricter immigration rules, limited work permit flexibility, or reduced academic collaboration. The world does not separate governance from citizens. A country's internal stability shapes its external leverage. Stronger governance strengthens your global standing. Weaker governance reduces your country's bargaining power and, by extension, yours. There is another impact people rarely discuss: identity. Children of Nigerians abroad hear global narratives about their parents' homeland. When those narratives focus on instability, corruption, or insecurity, it shapes perception. Pride in heritage depends partly on national progress. When governance fails to inspire, identity becomes complicated. Some children distance themselves from Nigerian identity to avoid stereotypes. Diaspora Nigerians often work hard to preserve culture, language, food, traditions, history. But governance influences global storytelling. A stable, thriving Nigeria strengthens diaspora confidence. A struggling Nigeria complicates cultural continuity. This is not about blind nationalism. It is about how governance shapes national image and how that image influences generational identity. Some Nigerians in diaspora feel disconnected from elections at home. They say, "I live abroad, it doesn't affect me." But as we've seen, it does. Governance decisions affect exchange rates, inflation, security, investment stability, diplomatic relationships, and national reputation. The next electoral cycle will not only shape Lagos, Kano, or Port Harcourt, it will shape London, Houston, Toronto, and Johannesburg, wherever Nigerians reside. Political choices determine economic direction. Economic direction determines global confidence. Global confidence affects your passport strength, business opportunities, and family stability. Bad government at home does not stay at home. It travels with your passport. It shapes your remittances. It influences your investments. It affects your children's identity. It touches your future plans. The real question is not whether governance affects you abroad. The real question is, how long can you afford to ignore it? Because distance does not mean disconnection.